Capricorns, pour yourself a cool, tall glass of something delicious and sit back and get ready to observe in July. Hello, my Capricorns, and I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Aligned Astro Chat Tarot, your Transformational Tarot reading for July. And of course, this is part of my Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life series. So excited to be connecting with you guys today. And we are going to tap into the energies of July with an overarching theme from our Sweet Ass Affirmations from Rage Create. I feel like we need a little sass in our life. And then the card deck that called out to me today was the Arcanum card deck for you guys. And actually, I don't even know who the author is, but it is a Lo Scarabeo deck. So really excited. And without further ado, let's check that out and see what's coming up for you guys at this time. So it's interesting. You're the first sign today that I got that is not like go, 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 drive and, big things happening and, move with the energy. And obviously, I think there's going to be some movement for you. We'll see what the cards have to say. But I am really feeling this energy of you being more in an observational stance or an observational role this month. And I feel like that observational energy is coming up and coming through because there are a lot of decisions that you're going to be needing to make, I feel, in August. And July is the time to get clear on what you really feel about it, what you really need, and then kind of preparing yourself, laying mental foundation, emotional foundation, energetic foundation, and in some case, physical foundation, or even financial foundation in preparation for that decision that you're making. So let's see. By pumping my action muscle, I make hesitation my bitch. Isn't that so funny? I'm getting for you that the action is not in the sort of the physical and the rah, 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 go, 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 but it's more in the action is the observation. So I'm going to say by pumping my observation muscle, I make hesitation my bitch. Oh, that's so freaking funny. All right. Well, this is going to be an interesting reading. Let's see where it takes us. So your first card is that present energy. Where are you at in your transformational journey in July? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Oh, interesting. We've got the Fool card. And actually, I think it was Sagittarius that got the Fool card in this position as well. So I think that's funny. Yeah, I do feel that you are on the precipice of a new beginning and a new journey. There's some choice that you're making. I want to say there is a direction, there's a path that you can choose, but you haven't chosen it yet. You're not in that space, in that place yet to, what I keep hearing is make an informed decision. And I feel like that's what's going to be coming up in July is, yes, the Fool typically indicates blind leap of faith, jumping off the cliff and into, the next adventure and the next foray. And, you've got support in doing so from spirit, from source energy. What I'm hearing here is, especially with seeing all of the astrological signs around here, that there's some research that needs to be done, that you're going to pick a path. And it's interesting about the signs. Maybe it's picking a person. Maybe it's picking a month or a timing that you're going to be ready to sort of do this or to move into this space. And P.S. and FYI, the hand is and the eyes are pointing to Cancer, and we are in that Cancerian energy right now. So I find that interesting. But I also feel like maybe this is you choosing to explore a different aspect of your chart or aspect of your personality based on your astrological chart, your soul blueprint. And I feel that we just hit on it. It's the soul blueprint energy. And by pumping my observation muscle, I make hesitation my bitch. And I feel like observance is not hesitation. Observance is learning, information gathering, getting ready to choose a path based on the available information. This isn't about analysis paralysis for you here. This is about making an informed decision and an informed choice. So I feel like that's kind of where you're at right now. And when we talk about, the shifting or the dissolving or the rising, I feel like you're rising into your path. But there's a choice to be made. So it's preparing to rise. That's how I would put that. You're preparing to rise. Catalyst, what's fueling or hindering this transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Ooh. The Tower, yeah. So, when the Tower comes up, there's, everyone gets scared. Dun, 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 the Tower. I feel like the Tower has already kind of happened for you. And the Tower has been for you the realization that things can't remain the same, that things, like you had your day in the sun about this particular situation or issue, but now things have escalated. Things have moved into a situation, an energy where it's no longer possible to rest on your laurels, or it's no longer possible to ride the wave or to coast. And I feel like this catalyst is what is inspiring you to do some research, to make some informed choices. For some of you Capricorns, I feel like there's decision that you're needing to make around people in your care, people in your charge, people that you love. For some of you, I feel there's going to be a level of, I feel like the unexpected has already happened. And this is not the fallout of the unexpected, but this is the next step of the unexpected. And this is about you getting real, radical acceptance of what is, and getting real about, okay, the past is the past. It is what it is. I don't want to spend any time thinking about or reminiscing or hoping or wishing that something could be different. I really need to be in the now, because here's where we're at. Here's where we need to be. What steps do I need to take to get here? And I feel like this is your rocket fuel. This is all right, what actually do I need to be thinking, doing, knowing, understanding, setting up in order for, this path? And maybe there are a couple of different paths that you're exploring, but there's no fear in this. And I even see in this particular Tower depiction, it feels more like a sunset than it does feel like a blazing, raging fire. It's almost like you're seeing one of the Grecian or Roman buildings in the sunset, and the sun is reflecting off the building that gives it the impression that it's on fire. Yeah, I feel like there is fire, but the fire has already happened. So the rocket fuel, I feel, is okay, this is the sunset, recognition of what has passed so that I can focus on what is to come, what I'm creating, what I'm saying yes to, what I am allowing into my space. Deep root. This is that deep belief, wound, or soul contract that is driving your transformation under the surface. Ooh, you got two cards for this. There are two that are calling out to me. Ooh, the Nine of Wands and the Sun. How fantastic. Okay, so you cannot control another person's choices. You cannot control what life throws you. You know this, but I feel like the exhaustion that you're feeling, the resistance that you're feeling, is because at the core of you, you feel somehow like you should have, would have, could have done something differently, and things would have happened differently. And I want to say to you, no. If we are talking about divine blueprint, this was always going to come up in some form for you to address. The choose your own adventure part, the choice that you made around that is the way it needed to be. It's the experience your soul chose to have. And so the sun is revealing that truth. And sometimes it can be a harsh truth, but it's harsh and clarifying right now so that you can get to the golden age, the golden era, or the gem, the jewel, the joy of the situation, or getting to the learning of the lesson so that you can move on to the next. Nines, endings, conclusions, resolutions. And I feel here like there is something growing. It's growing up his leg. But what does that mean? It's trying to root him in place. You've been moving and shaking and doing and being and, running around, gathering all these wands, trying so desperately to stop the thing that now has happened. So let it go. Allow yourself to be rooted. Allow the sun to feed that new life that is here. Give yourself permission to just grow in place, to stand here for a moment and observe. Observation muscle. Observe what is transpiring. The observance of it allows you to get to know it. Like, we don't know what we don't know, but when we know it and when we know better, then we can do better. That's what this feels like. And there's forgiveness that is transpiring here. There's a part of your soul contract that you feel you kind of let somebody down. You haven't really, engaged in the way that you wanted to. And again, I call bullshit on all of that. That's the ego stepping in. The ego is definitely represented by the sun. It's also represented by the strength card. But we have fire signs here, right? Fiery energy, wands, and the sun. You also have the tower. You are dealing with a lot of heat. You're dealing with a lot of that burning and the action, the smoldering, whatever, that requires oxygen. And too much oxygen means that it gets too big, right? So I feel like this is growing in place, allowing yourself to catch your breath, not beating yourself up for what has transpired. Instead, getting right to it is what it is. Here's the radical acceptance of it. Also, there's another astrological wheel expression on the sun here. Let me show you that. A little bit, all of the little signs being depicted here. And again, I feel like that is a nod to the divine blueprint, the soul blueprint. And you are making, you're gathering information, you're researching, you're doing your research to forge a new path ahead. But you can do it. You can do it in place. You don't have to move around. No moving and shaking at this point. I feel like that's really important. Interesting. Wow. Okay. What's dying away? What role, pattern, or identity, has run its course? Well, these cards are really speaking to you. Judgment. Yeah. Stop beating yourself up for past decisions. Understand that, you made the choices that you made and they brought you to where you're at right now. So it's not about beating yourself up. It's not even about questioning the choices that you've made. This is about saying, okay, you're at a turning point here. You're at a choice point. And the only question before you, the only thing of consideration is, am I ready to move forward? Do I need one more kick at the can? Do I need to do this to myself or to others again? Or is it about the forward momentum? Where am I at right now? Where do I want to be? What are the next steps to getting me there? Period. End of story. Wow, that's super easy. I didn't even think that, I usually go on and wax poetic about it. I don't feel that I need to. I feel like that message is very clear. Also, it's a 20, which is a 2. 2 is partner, pairing, union, partnership. duality, and creating a plan, choices, creating a plan. So you're doing the research to create a plan for how you're going to move forward. Or maybe you're creating a plan for how to do this all over again. We always have choice. And I'm not going to judge whether or not, I think you should do this or this. This is just the decision that you have, that you're facing at this time. I'm going to encourage you to make the choice to move forward. But if you genuinely feel like I didn't get the full lesson, I didn't get it fully, and I'm afraid that if I quit this too soon and I move forward, I'm going to have to deal with it in a different way over here. So let me address it. I feel like that might be for, 1 or 2% of you. But I feel like for the majority of you, the message really is about the moving forward, right? I make hesitation my bitch. It's not about getting stuck. It's about growing in place, but not getting stuck in the past, not trying to do over the past, because you can't. Here is your Phoenix potential. What can rise from these ashes? What is your soul calling you toward this month? This is breakthrough energy. Interesting. We got the Strength card. Okay, I just did something funky with the cards and turned some things over. Okay, so I was talking about the sun and ego being in place. And I also mentioned the Strength card. Well, now we've got the Strength card. And look at how much fire you have in your reading at this time. We've got the Tower, the Wands, the Sun, and now the Strength card. The Strength card is the Leo card. So lots of fiery energy, the inner child, going within, empowerment, but also where the ego resides, the ego voice. So I feel like there's an overcoming of the ego, overcoming of the drive to control, to fix the situation, to change what cannot be changed single-handedly by you. I want to say, go with what you can control. What you can control is your response or your reaction to what life presents you. You can't change people, places, and things. You can only change your approach to it, your response to it. And I feel like rising from the ashes, this is you coming back into your own. And I do feel that there's been a lot of you that has been devoted and maybe even conscripted to this other person or this other situation. And now that the universe has basically said it's not even a possibility anymore, this is it's the liberation piece. It has kind of set you free, because it's saying, all right, you can get your power back. You can choose to stand in that power. You can choose to tame the beast within, but you have to become aware of the fact that the beast is a little wild and untamed right now. The beast has been chained up for a while and hasn't been fed. And so you've got to go in and you want to feed it, you want to nurture it, you want to love it, but you also don't want to get bit. So there's a little strategy involved in what that looks like. So this is a coming back into yourself, into your own power, into your own knowing. And it's also permission, I want to say, to cut loose and cut yourself free of other people's trauma. And I feel like that's a specific message, other people's trauma. You can help. You can be a part of the solution. But in order to be a part of the solution, it's important for you to not get bogged down in the problem. Again, here's where we're at. Here's where we're going. These are the steps that I can focus on. I can't go back to the past. And I keep feeling like, I don't know if it's you and your ego that's doing it, or if it's someone else that is kind of dragging you to the past, or maybe a combination of the both. But there's a real energy here of you wanting to change things, to make things better, to make things different. And, I can relate to you in a lot of ways. Sometimes, I equate it to when something comes out of your mouth that maybe you didn't think about, or you didn't realize that it was going to have the impact that it has. And it's not something you can take back. And yeah, you got to live with the consequences of that. And it can be very uncomfortable to live with the consequences of that, right? It doesn't feel good within you because maybe you didn't bring your A game. I feel like the strength card is coming up and coming through to say, don't get hung up on that. We got to move past that. We've got to move ahead and empower yourself. Understand that everybody has been there at one point in time or another. Don't let that take away your ability to move forward, because that's what this is all about. I really feel strongly. Even if you're in the 1% that feels like you got to do one more kick at the can, I feel like that one more kick at the can is going to bring you right back to this. So eventually you are going to get to how you're moving forward as well. And all of this information is going to apply. It's just going to apply at a slightly different time. Next steps, what's emerging just around the corner, and what energy or experience is coming in to support this next phase. I love it. Temperance. So remember, I had said to you, there's a lot of fire to your air, to your earth, and needing to add some oxygen. Well, in this, it's adding balance, right? It's adding some fire and the water, so that the fire doesn't burn too brightly and get too big and burn itself out. And so that the water has a little bit of momentum, a little bit of reason to move forward. Temperance is also alchemy. And I feel like you are going to, through this research that you are doing, through this also self-exploration around where you're at, I do feel that an opportunity to alchemize what you're learning, to combine the wisdom, the research, the information, and the feeling space that you get to, that what you're going to alchemize is exactly what you need to be able to move forward. It's alchemizing clarity and a very direct path. And what I keep seeing is when this clarity shows up for you, you're going to be off like a shot. It's like no more time to mess around. We don't have time to waste. Let's get this done. It's kind of like you come into that space and you recognize, okay, I've been waiting for the clarity. Well, now the clarity is here. Let's get on it. Like there's no point in dilly-dallying. Like it needs to get done yesterday. And I feel that the universal energies will support you in that. But understand that it's what you are putting into the bowl. You know, you're putting these things in. It's your concoction. It's your alchemization. There may be other factors and other people involved in the choices that you're making, but they're your choices to put those particular ingredients into the bowl. And give yourself some credit. Trust that what you're intuitively guided to put in that bowl is coming from observation, and it's going to be what it needs to be. And that whatever comes out on the other side, you're going to be able to make it work. Kind of a tough month, I feel, for you guys. And not to be all, disparaging and sad and whatever. I feel like, you've got what you need to get through it, and it's not going to be all sad. But I feel like it's, this is some big shit that you're moving through. So I want to say self-care is going to be really important here. So what part are you playing in your own transformation here? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Yeah. Again, I want to say, stop getting in your own way. Stop driving the bus. Stop pushing for the resolve. Stop doing for others and start doing for yourself. But I want to say, it's not the doing, it's the being. I feel like this is, I want to say this is kind of the universal frying pan to the head. So said with love, delivered with love and compassion. You're wanting so desperately to not be here in all of this, dealing with all of this stuff, that you're like, let's just get through to the other side so that we can, I'll deal with it later. I'll process it 3 months from now, but let's just get her done now. And I want to say, I feel like the universe is not going to allow that to happen. There's always going to be something that gets in the way that's going to cause you to have to look at, okay, I just spent all this time pushing to get a resolve. I spent the whole day to get a resolve. And here at the end of the day, through no fault of my own, there's still no resolve. And I'm going to have to turn around and do it again tomorrow. What is that telling me? The universe is saying, let it go and let it flow. This is not your responsibility. You are gathering information, but you're not supposed to do anything with that information until you've been alchemized, until you've been given the opportunity. When you're given that opportunity, when that shows up, then you're going to have the information to apply it. But until then, stop driving the bus, stop bulldozing, stop pushing. You know, I'm going to say to you, and I've had this happen to me so many freaking times, that I really listen and I pay attention to my body. The universe will give us, you know, the breadcrumbs, the little hints. And if we don't pay attention to the breadcrumbs, we get the half of a piece of bread, and then we get the full piece after full piece. And then eventually they're leaving full loaves of bread. And if we're still not choosing that path, you're going to get that universal frying pan to the head. It's going to be a major course correction, and it's not going to be fun. And for me, often that happens if I'm not listening to my body and my fatigue and whatever. The universe is going to put all sorts of obstacles in my path on a physical level. One time I actually broke not one, but both of my feet. And I still managed to push. And they had to end up giving me walking pneumonia to get me to actually stop being so active and to just sit. And when I did that, I mean, I was sick. It was awful. I was in so much pain. It delayed a lot of the things that I wanted to get done, but there was clarity in it. On the other side of it, there was clarity in it, and it didn't have to be so hard. And I feel like that's the message here for you. Don't get in your own way. This doesn't have to be hard. Stop doing, start being, because when you're in that being space, the clarity will come. Again, said with love. They're giving you a little tough love going on here. Support, circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now, positively or negatively? Oh, the Empress. Yes. You know, you have so much love to give. You are a person that people genuinely love and respect, that people genuinely recognize what it is that you have to offer. Do you recognize what it is that you have to offer? Do you give yourself that level of love and self-care and support? Do you turn that, you know, sort of love and compassion onto yourself? Are you taking advantage of the abundance and the resource that is available to you right now? You're certainly not if you're bulldozing, if you're moving forward, if you're on fire. You're not doing this. Wow, the cards are being very direct with you today. I don't need to go any further than that. Hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming? And what scares you about actually doing it? It's that fear of success. 6 of Cups. Yeah, I feel like you are longing for an easier time, a time gone by when things were different, when things were happier, lighter, or simpler, or clearer. But again, that's in the past. And it doesn't mean you can't create that moving forward, but it's not going to look the way that it looked in the past because you've already had that experience. It's not about having the same experience. It's about creating something even better. And I feel that there's an alignment component here, especially when we've got that alchemy card. There's an alignment component here that says in order for you to align, you have to let go of the past, because the past is never coming back. And the research that you're doing, I feel, needs to be really focused on how to not recreate, but how to create a similar feeling, or to create that happiness or that joy or that peace or that ease. And maybe remove the people, places, and things that you're attaching to or associating with the past. It's got to be fresh. I feel like we need to have this could be a palette, and it's like we need to wash all the paint off the palette and start fresh. I feel like that is really what you're needing. I don't know if it's a hope or a fear as much as that I feel is the action that needs to happen. Who you're becoming, you want to experience all of those things that you once had, but you can't experience them in that way because you're a different version of yourself now. So it's about, how do I want to experience it now? That's what I can focus on. So the hope and the fear, that the hope is that you can go back. And I want to say to you, no, that it's not the right approach. It's not the best way to look at it. It's not the right perspective to have for your highest and best. And I feel that there's fear around that. You're afraid that you're not going to be able to find or create, something better than what you had before. And I'm going to say that's a limiting belief. If you really believe it, then that's what you're going to put your focus to, and that's what you're going to manifest. So let's believe that you can absolutely, have something even better than what was, and put your focus and your attention to creating that. Here is your highest and best outcome of this transformation in July. Who will you be on the other side of this journey? And what is the result of embracing the full cycle of birth, death, and rebirth? We have the Eight of Swords, liberation. This is an invitation for you to liberate yourself from the confines of your mind, from the confines of the situation that you have attached yourself to, that you have committed yourself to. I'm sure it's coming from a loving place, but I mean, you have kind of committed to something that isn't really your story. It isn't your song to sing. So I feel like the outcome here with all of this, especially when you're tapping into the Empress energy and giving that to yourself, putting your focus on what you're creating in the new, it's liberation. And trust that the past happened for a reason, and all the things and the stuff are going to work out, and they're going to be what they need to be for all parties involved, not just for you. The question here is around that you still feeling like you made this pact. My word is my bond, and I made it, 7,000 years ago, and I'm still in each lifetime endeavoring to reach the goal, to be the thing, to get to where it is I need to be, so I don't have to do it anymore. In July here, I feel like the outcome is that you give yourself permission to release yourself from that energy and to say, all right, the focus is on creating something new, giving myself the love and compassion that I give to others, and now I'm moving forward. And all of this, I've grown where I'm planted. I've stood still. I've made hesitation my bitch, and now I've got a direction, and I feel good about that direction. Oh my goodness, my Capricorns. Wow. Okay. Really intense. I just want to give you a really big hug, like big hug, because I do feel that what you are processing and going through here in July, it's big stuff. And just know that you are not alone. You're going to get through this. And I feel that like the liberation piece is the whole point. That's what your guides are wanting you to achieve. That's what they're wanting you to get to. I could say get out of your own way, but I could also say to you, I understand the challenges and the levels and layers that you're shedding. In essence, you're going through it and you're shedding. And I just keep hearing the word quest. See yourself as being on a quest. That might lighten the load a little bit. All right, guys, that is your transformational tarot reading for July. I'm sending you lots and lots of love. I hope you have an empowered and productive, empowered and observant observation only, an observant month. And take care, transform well, and we will see you on the flip side.